Hit it. I see you. Hmm. Rolling into 183. Whew. How you feeling?
Oh, I needed to dance today. I
Yes.
needed to dance.
Yeah, I
So,
was I was talking about it all last year, dancing on a daily basis, and I still have to remind myself to do it sometimes. So it's taken a little bit longer than the laughing. Laughing was easier. Dancing is like, you know, I got to make sure I do it, but I hear what you're saying.
right?
Mm,
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Yeah. How are you, my friend?
Mm. When we talk about, and the title of the show today is How to Heal and Be in Your Body Every Single Day, right? That's something that's been so front of mind for me. When we talk about, I was looking through our notes on the what do we call it? The wisdom in action that we do at the end of
Mhm.
the week. And it was
Mhm.
like voice of healing and hope, right? It's like getting to the root of things that we were talking about last week. And sometimes you don't always get the opportunity to get to the root with the people in the situation, right?
Mhm.
Especially in social wellness, sometimes
Mhm.
and what happens when that doesn't happen? So you got to get to the root within yourself though, right? Still go to the processing table on your side of it, everything you can bring, and how do you heal there? That I've been very intentional about it on a daily basis so I can lead from the place of love and intentionality and health, a certain level of health that I like to operate from, and not
Mm.
hurt or disappointment or whatever reaction from whatever situation I'm walking out of.
Ooh, I love that.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's so true in the climate we're in, right? I mean, it really has been since we started the the podcast,
My goodness, it's so
right?
relevant. I'm pulling up these
It
reviews
is
like, yep,
so
relevant.
when we're like, okay, how do we do this in a very chaotic time?
Mhm.
How do we stay grounded and centered and healthy
Yeah.
and well
Very well. Very well taken
and
care of.
connected? Because,
Yeah.
I know sometimes some folks like, and we can talk about this more after our official introduction, but,
Oh, yeah, we need that.
a lot of friends, I wouldn't say friends, but a lot of people I know
Okay.
say, "Oh, I'm just not paying attention. It's too much. I
Mm,
can't do it."
mm,
And I want to say this with a caveat and with full love, right? If
mm.
you need to take a break, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But not knowing what's happening,
Mhm,
like, is detrimental to all of us.
mhm.
So it breaks, yes. Taking care of yourself, yes.
Yes.
And
And
community care. And community care. So I think part of, for me,
mm,
community care is being present and knowing what's happening and knowing what action I need to take.
mhm. And I think and this is crazy because we usually don't do this, right? We usually don't go
Mhm.
into a full conversation before the intro, but I think it's worth the space because not I wanna go deeper into what we're talking about, right? Not in community care because we minimize our capacity that we feel like is less, and then, "Oh, but what about everybody else?" Community care because it's a marker of the level of health that you have, right? If I am not okay, I cannot make sure anybody else is okay. When I am at 100% capacity and everything is great and thriving, I want to be able to take care of myself sustainably and pour out sustainably. And again, that's not pouring from my cup, them having from my cup, but my cup running over and it's pouring out over the sides, right? And they're from the saucer.
It's
And I
awesome.
think that's Iyanla
Yep.
Vanzant said that, like not pouring from your cup, and depleting yourself. But that's how I gauge the marker. And it's okay sometimes if it's like, hey, I don't have it for the community right now. That's a check for you. That's a yellow flag. Hey, I'm not okay. What's
Mhm.
going on? And you go into your secret garden. I was asking one of my team members about her secret garden. Hers her bed. You know what I'm saying? So you go to your
Oh.
bed, your snuggle. Where's your snuggly place where you feel safe?
Oh.
And after you recharge and that love
Mhm.
bucket like Jenna Banks is talking about, and I love me more, and your power tank is
Mhm.
full. Now, okay, don't forget the community because if you're not paying attention, yes, there will be fire outside, and you're wondering why your house is starting to get hot, and
Right.
you saw the light through the blinds. Okay, just open the blinds
Right.
a little bit. uh,
Right.
yeah,
How about we do our official intro? Because I know we have a lot to talk about today,
let's
friend.
do it. Let's do it. All right, y'all. I am Shannon Mitchell, a Black millennial entrepreneur and Amazon bestselling publisher, author, and all natural product manufacturer. I'm a champion for your natural self care, sustainable business care, and overall intentional wellness.
Hey, y'all. I'm Christine Gautreaux, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker, coach, Amazon best-selling author and publisher, and a dancing social worker who
Mm.
helps you upgrade yourself and community care.
Yes, together we are a podcast rooted in the 8 dimensions of wellness and the co founders of Women Connected in Wisdom community.
And we like to get together every week for intentional conversations about how to be wise in business, relationships, and wellness. How do we do it?
Mm, so important. And it's funny, I don't remember what it was or what we were talking about one day. And I brought something up. It might have been an event I was having on campus or something in college, something with something that I was doing after college. I don't remember. But my friend was like, shameless plug. And that's been something that every now and then is necessary because it's so relevant, you know. And when we talk about, hey, Sharticia, we see you. When we talk about healing every single day, I think about Shalo Glow, right? I was missing this oil when I got this cut the other week. Y'all know I went to the hospital for this cut, and then my butter was out. And so thankfully, shout out to Heather. We always do our shout outs to our women connected in real life when there's a tool that a woman specifically gave us. I don't know if you know that, Christine. We do like
Mhm.
shout outs to people. Heather had us some shea butter. Thank you so much. And it did not have aloe in it. I said, I need my aloe for my healing. Like, what's going on? And that's one of my markers, y'all. We were just talking about the markers for self care, right? And if I don't have Shaylo Glow. I'm the owner of Shaylo Glow. I make this stuff, and I didn't have it. Like we are yellow flag is turning red. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right?
send help. And the cavalries came through. So that's what I think about when I think about healing and like checking in with yourself. How are you doing, and
Right?
what do you need to be okay tomorrow?
Right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think about, we're talking about social wellness today, and love. Hello, Sharticia, waving. Loved getting a call from Sharticia last night. One of our authors of our Volume 1 book wrote a fabulous chapter.
Yes,
One of the busiest women I know,
I was
and
thinking about her schedule.
raising one of the cutest kids. Like, I mean, she's got a lot of cute kids, but
Yes,
her
she does.
youngest is something else. Um, yeah, and talking about social wellness
Yeah.
today, and in the midst of, taking care of
She's here.
Yay! I'm so
Hello, beautiful.
glad. Hello, beautiful.
Typing in
You
Dunya.
know,
Tell me if I'm saying that right, Shartisi. I know I have to ask you. Hi,
right?
I'm Dunya. That's what she said. If y'all are listening in.
I love it. Well, and her youngest is, I think, 8 now and has
Oh
a
my goodness.
YouTube
Oh,
channel,
that's crazy.
probably getting more views than Women Connected in Wisdom.
Yes, she is.
So,
Come on, connected. I love it.
she's one of our baby connected and wisdom. Yeah, she's got to
Yes,
show
she
us
is.
how to do this. We
Hey,
look towards the youth. Like,
we
what do
do.
they do in their works and
We could
doesn't work? And
learn from
right,
everybody.
all the
Okay.
things, all the
Yeah.
different generations, right?
Yeah.
And at Women Connected, we've got folks that are in 8 and folks that are 86, like all the way.
Yeah. And love
Right.
all of them, you know, and again, throughout the day, I'm like, wow, I'm
Mhm.
so glad Eileen taught me that. Wow, I'm so glad, I can know when I'm getting upset on a daily basis, whenever it is, that my emotions are teachers and that Eileen taught us that, and like how do you transform this energy? Or like when something's disappointing and I'm thinking, well, maybe this is grief, getting better with those
Mm,
emotions and thinking about Dr. Sheila K. Collins and the art of grieving and what is this
mhm.
loss? What life is this loss calling me to
Me
live?
too.
And
Right.
so it like helps me through these situations.
Whoa. Oh,
Okay,
she
let's
says
see. She got
Dunia.
Dunia. That's how
That's how
you
you
pronounce it,
pronounce
y'all.
it.
Okay, Dunia. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. We got to make sure we're intentional. So glad you ladies are here. So,
Yeah, I was thinking about this, about what life is this loss calling me to? Because
mhm,
there's a lot of grief and loss right now. There's a lot of anger, there's a lot of
mhm,
frustration, but also just a lot of grief. I
mhm,
know, you and I have been talking about, because we have
mhm,
volume 3 that
mm,
we got folks coming out. And are we going to do it on
yeah,
the 8 dimensions of wellness? Are we going to
right,
have a theme? Is our
right.
theme going to be grief and loss? Is it going to be building community? That's been
Mhm.
bubbling up for me too in
Oh,
these times, because
oh,
we know here, like, when Women Connecting Wisdom, like,
yeah,
how valuable community is.
mm,
And in these times, like, how valuable. This week I'm in Asheville, taking care of one of my besties and one of our authors, and who had
yes.
knee replacement. And
So
so
glad she was able
I
to.
am right. One of my favorite places, Asheville, North Carolina, which it's my first time to be here after the hurricane.
Wow.
And they were so hard hit, and their community really taking care of each other and taking care of their neighbors, and still are. They're doing a beautiful job, but
Mm,
it is,
yeah.
they had, they're not going to recover for a couple of years.
Mm,
It's was that intense here.
yeah. The
And
videos and the pictures and everything have been crazy.
oh
She
yeah.
was she was talking about how she was walking her dog on the route they usually take and how
Hmm.
different it looked, and the pictures were just
Hmm.
I love my routes and everything, so I cannot imagine.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And it's we drove through the art district, which was completely flooded, and hundreds of artists lost their work and lost their livelihoods in just hours. And I know we really feel it at Women Connected Wisdom, because so many of us are entrepreneurs and artists, and um, just know the impact of that, right?
Right.
And I keep thinking about this, like, in these intense times,
Mhm,
how do we stay in our bodies? How do
mhm,
we heal? How do we stay present for what this moment is asking of us?
right. And it's funny because I was looking at this. Somebody else was on my phone yesterday. And so I was asking this question. I wonder when he looked at my phone, what did he see? Right. So looking at it, and I have this picture of me at the High Museum on Pharaoh Knight's 5th anniversary. And it was like what does she call it? An anti mural. And it was the back of her head. And the point of it was to highlight her curl pattern. It was beautiful. So I
Mm,
had Farrell take a picture of the back of my head, right? Me in London's closet. Another shameless plug, right? Looking fabulous, thankfully. Had my hair done, had my locks done by Lock and Key. But these plaques beside the middle or under the middle piece, the top one says present. And then under it, there's two of them, right? Side by side, it says past and perfect. Beside that to the right, it says present and perfect. And under that, it says past and perfect, future perfect.
mm,
And so holding those, I like that more than monkey see or hear no evil, speak no evil. What is it? See no evil. I like this
right, right.
better than that by the different perspectives of where we could be and what it could have looked like.
And this was an artist at the High Museum.
Mhm, mhm. This was at the Giants exhibit. So Alicia Keys and her husband Swiss Beats had an
Mm,
exhibit. It was amazing.
mm.
It's amazing. And if you have a Bank of America card, you get into a list of museums for free on the first week. So, we just changed the Shayla Glow accounts. I was like, "Yep, I have my card. Let's get it." And it was a great time.
We need to put that link of the museums that folks can get into in and around Atlanta if you're
Yeah.
visiting or if you're local. I
Mhm.
know we have folks all over the world that listen to us, but when you come to Atlanta, there's a lot of really cool things to see.
Yeah.
Welcome, Linda. So
Hi,
glad you're
Linda.
here. And thanks for inviting her, Sharticia.
Yes, the connector.
Fantastic.
Tell us what you ladies have going on for social wellness this week. Tap in. How are you guys doing?
Right?
Yes. So what else for you when you think about how to heal and be in your body every single day? I think about your expertise as a social worker and helping these families and these children through the different situations,
Mhm,
you know. I think about you as an amazing community connector and how you connect people through seeing what they need. And a lot of times that's exposed through difficult situations, you know.
mhm.
When you talk to your clients and the people that you help about healing, where would you start if somebody's hurt and needs to get back into their body? How you were talking about zipping out of your body.
Yeah, we talked about that because I got my back hurt a couple of weeks ago. But well, I think about my group that I do at Mercy Care a couple times a month, and these are with women who are transitioning out of homelessness. And we start with the present moment and taking a deep breath. And I've been doing this for years, but even just taking a moment to stop and let our shoulders drop
Yeah.
and take a deep breath. And, as our friend and colleague Cecile Armstrong always says, breathe into your belly, let your
Yes.
belly go free. Nobody's looking. And just take a moment to take a really deep breath.
Yeah.
And check in with your body,
Yeah.
right? So, to me, how to be in your body is first of all, checking in with yourself and doing a body scan and just taking a few moments, like to go from the top of your head all the way down. And here's the thing, and Shannon, you may be too young for this, but for those of us that are over 40,
Mm,
we can tell you immediately in our body what hurts
mm,
because there's something that usually hurts. But what I invite people to do is look for something that feels good today.
mm,
What feels good in your body today? And it could be, something that's neutral. It may not feel great. Sometimes we don't feel great in our bodies until we move, until
mm.
we dance, until we stretch. Before the show, you asked me what I needed, and I was like, "Oh, I need to stretch." And we stretched, and
Immediately.
whoo!
Yeah.
And I realized like how good that felt in my
Hmm.
shoulders,
Mm,
right?
mhm.
And so really checking in with your body about what feels good today.
Yeah.
And I always tell folks when I teach our radical self and community care class,
Mhm.
take a few deep breaths into that place of wellness.
Yeah.
Like really sit with what feels good today and take a few deep breaths into that place. And then check in with a part of your body that may not feel as great. Maybe crunchy, maybe talking to you. I've been at the computer too long, so it's my shoulders. So I tend to just put a hand on that place and I
Yes.
breathe between those two places. I breathe between the place of wellness and the place that needs a little extra support,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Charticia is saying she meditates 3 times a day. Let's get it up here. No less than 3 times a day, she meditates 30 minutes at a time. I don't
Mm.
care what's happening or
Hold on.
going on. I don't break this schedule.
You know what we're gonna do? The victory bell for that one. She doesn't break the schedule. Y'all gotta know. You gotta read the volume, okay? You should have seen this schedule. So she kept her work on. For her not taking her rest off, that's
Mm,
huge. That's huge. That's important.
yeah, I'm not good at that one. I mean,
I'm
I'll
still
own it.
practicing. Yeah.
I'll own it. That one, I notice I get off my schedule sometimes when I'm traveling. Like I'll
Yeah.
have things I do at home that are just ingrained, but when I'm
Mhm,
traveling or on the road,
mhm.
Chartisia says 6 noon
Well,
and
6,
6 like
noon,
clockwork.
and that's how I read it first, but I think it's 6, noon,
Noon
and then
and
6.
6. Yeah,
Yep.
you're right because she does it 3 times a
3.
day.
Yep.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you,
you. I like it.
Sharticia, yes. Um,
I have a group of women I've retreated with for close to 30 years now. I'm really, really lucky because they found me when I was a baby. Um, I was in my 20s, but
I was about to
you know,
say
I'm
I was
still a
gonna let
baby.
you
I was
have it,
in
though. I was
college,
gonna
right?
let you have it,
But
yeah.
we have a prayer web, and meditation, prayer. I feel like they closely align a lot of times, but we pray for each other at sunrise, noon, and sunset.
Mm,
And sometimes it's not often 30 minutes,
mm,
Charticia. You
yeah,
get the
get it,
gold star
get
in
it.
the winner today.
Yes.
But it's taking that moment of mindfulness
Mhm,
and connecting on
mhm.
a different level with something outside of yourself, I think is really powerful.
Absolutely. And for me, it's the readjustment of my focus and my perspective, you know? A
Hmm.
lot of times, again, we talked about dancing, we talked about laughing. That was because of, the difficulty of the difficulties of the situations I was going through when I was little, right, y'all? We're going in the 20-minute realm of our podcast, and usually this is when we would have our guests. To let you know, it is gonna be Christine and I today, unless
Whoop,
our
whoop.
guest pops on here, right? Let's see what happens, we go with the flow. But we were, gonna be talking about childhood trauma and how to again heal every day and be in your body. So that's what I think about. Um, Oh, Sharticia shared something. What is this, Sharticia, that you're sharing with us? Maybe meditation. But that is one of my anchors, and it reminds me that not everything's in my control. Yes, I have
Mhm,
this very difficult
mhm.
situation, and we were talking about the circle of influence earlier, right? This is what I can control. So just like you were talking about, the part that feels good today or neutral between the part that hurts, it's the same thing emotionally or for problem solving. Okay, this is the part that's hurting. Ouch, this credit card, this emergency that we need to get funded or whatever it is. This is the part that feels good. This is what I know. Let me lean on my social wellness and see what I can do. I had somebody I know do that. He was able to get what he needed. And usually that isn't what he would do, but desperate times calls for desperate measures, and I
Right.
see it as the same thing.
Well, and I had a friend that said to me recently, it's the cost of doing business sometimes.
Mhm,
Like that if we don't attach emotional things to it,
mhm.
that it can be what needs to happen in the moment.
What do you
You brought
mean?
up about the credit card, about needing to put it on there that sometimes we have the we should or
Right.
or our
The rules.
ideals, the
Mhm,
rules or
mhm.
ideals.
Yes,
And sometimes the situation calls for going with the flow or doing
yes,
this in this moment.
it does.
And I think sometimes our shoulds or our rules are
Mhm.
what limit us.
Yeah,
And you brought up the social wellness aspect, and I realized we haven't read it for our guests today. So
let's
I'm going
do
to
it.
read the definition of what we're talking about, y'all, when we talk about social wellness at
Mhm,
Women Connecting Wisdom. Social wellness is about the ability to nurture ourselves, others, and our relationships with healthy boundaries. It includes, and we put it in quotes, balancing the other seven dimensions of wellness and actively participating as an interdependent being in the web of life.
mhm,
We started the show talking about like paying attention, and it's okay to take breaks.
mhm,
And yes, Chartesia says yes, they do limit us, those shoulds and those rules.
mhm.
Um, and in our current climate, I can see why it would be easy, really, to go to bed and not get up. Right? Like there is a
True.
lot going on, y'all, and you're inundated with
Mm,
the beeps and the buzzes and the latest breaking news that is often distressing, right?
right.
So
Mhm.
I keep receiving that we need to double down on our practices. So our meditation, I'm loving Charticia saying that 3 times a day, like
Mhm.
calling us in for putting it on your schedule, putting
Yeah,
it on I know we've mentioned it before and I'm not sure what her link is to she put a link in
yeah,
our comments for the how I got started, but
yeah.
I use Insight Timer, which
Mm,
is a free app,
mhm.
and I use that every day for my meditation and I often meditate at night. And but really what are the practices that bring us ease and joy?
Yeah.
I wrote, you answer that, and then I have something to share with you. But
Mm.
what brings you ease and joy in these times?
Stepping outside, and stepping
Mhm.
outside not to go to my car to go somewhere, right?
Mhm.
Stepping outside to be in the same position for a certain amount of time every day, and I haven't been sticking to it every day, right? But we were talking about it for a couple of shows in a row for a second there about grounding, like 21 minutes a day in the same
Mhm.
spot in your grass in the yard, right? It's not the same type of space here, but I trust that the time outside and the trees and the birds that I'm around, listening
Mhm.
to the birds and remembering that I can look at the trees and the birds and know if God takes care of them, He takes care of me. If I can fly like an eagle, there's no eagle that's like, oh, I'm about to fall. Like, just go with the wind. Sometimes you're flapping and sometimes you're soaring. Okay. And sometimes you're resting. And then there's different things that happen in different times, but that's what calms me.
Have I ever told you my eagle story?
I don't know.
Oh.
What's the eagle story?
So back when Joe and I we lived in the Woodlands Conroe area in Texas. So it's a suburb of Houston. And we lived in this neighborhood called Chateau Woods.
Okay.
And one day, and I can't even tell you what I was mad about, but I was mad. And I don't usually get mad. Like I
Yeah.
don't have a lot of fire. Like I tend to go with the flow. I might get irritated or disappointed. I sound like such a mom when I say that, don't I?
Mhm.
But I don't get really mad. But I had gotten mad at Joe, my husband.
Wow.
And I jumped in my truck. You can tell I'm a Texas girl. At the time I had a truck. Jumped in my truck and, I don't even know where I was going. I
Hmm.
just had to get out of there, right?
Mhm.
And so I jumped in my truck and I was going over the railroad tracks, and we had this pair of bald eagles that were nesting a couple of miles away at the lake, and that was probably where I was heading, is to water, because that's one of my places I go when I'm upset. And as I came across the railroad track, this bald eagle flew over the top of my truck and flew right in front of me. And it was the most powerful thing because it was like whoosh. And it was like this really special thing from God, spirit, the universe, whatever you want to call it. And it took away I can't even tell you, like in that moment, it took away
Mhm.
my anger and frustration. I was in such awe,
Mhm.
like that moment of awe.
Yeah.
And I think about that when you think about the birds.
Mhm.
Cecilia lifted up that was a powerful story you told a second ago.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And though, that's one of the things. Shalo Glow. We're talking about the extra. I was laughing because, of course, we know the extra. That's the Zanaya Naturals. This is the beeswax candle. Oh my
Oh, I
goodness,
have one of her candles. It's delish. We
y'all.
need to
So
put a link in that.
let me tell you about Sarita, because when we talk about like social wellness, Sarita and her brand is something that um a heart Shartisi said she definitely would have had a heart. Not allowed, okay? No
Yeah,
heart attacks
no heart
allowed,
attacks
okay?
allowed.
She was flying with the eagles. Christina was an eagle on the road, okay? Um,
Linda
and
says her piece is water as well, maybe because
yes,
mine too.
mm, um, because I'm what forest sign, Linda? What is it, Aquarius? I guess it would depend on what you mean, Linda. Let us
Um,
know. Um,
right?
but y'all, again, Sarita, when she came into the retail space at Spark, I was wondering how my product and her product would do together in a
Mhm,
small space, right, with 4 brands. I
mhm.
said, "If she's the 3rd of 4 brands, how is that gonna work?" But what I've realized is that over the shea butter, this is thicker. There's a reason I didn't make the Shayla Glow products out of beeswax, but I love this candle on top of the shea butter because it does add that extra sealant, right? And in the times, again, when I might be out of Shayla Glow, I
Mhm.
can use some oil and then the candle, and it's amazing, and I always get the sage just because it's so relaxing. But
Mm,
for me, that's a reminder of Shartisia's chapter in the first book, all of your chapters in our books, Christine, and like
mhm.
how our stories and resources and a social wellness is in a world where they told you were going to be competition. You wouldn't have made it if it wouldn't have been for this one woman. Okay. In the retail space,
Right?
y'all, like it was crazy situations. And me and Sarita, okay, with some sage, some Shalo Glow, and some candles, had a good time. So
Mm.
yeah, I love
Right?
it.
I wanna
Yes.
read you something I wrote
Okay.
a couple of weeks ago. I don't think I shared it anywhere,
No.
but your stories about nature and bird brought
Mhm.
this up.
Okay.
So I wrote this on the 16th. It says, "When you are not okay, take a moment to step outside and feel the sun on your face. Breathe in the cold, cool air and touch something nearby. If you're lucky, a soft pet companion. Listen to the birds sing and squirrels chatter, soaking up the moment. Yes, there's traffic in the distance, emails to wade through, and a to do list to tackle. It can all wait a few minutes. Look around, seeking the good, like how the wind moves the wind chimes, engaging multiple senses at once. Today, the sky is bright blue, and I am grateful."
Beautiful.
I think about it with the how to be in your body, right? So we can heal. And one of the techniques I use with clients and when I'm facilitating interplay is that method of looking around
Mhm.
and using our five senses, right? This is also used with folks who suffer with panic attacks.
Mhm.
But let's just play a little game, Shannon,
Let's
while
do
we're
it.
on here, and our listeners can do it too while they're driving or listening. So look around and name five things that you can see.
Mhm.
Five things that you can see.
You want me to name it out loud?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, got some garlic hot sauce. Okay. We have, yes, let's say a crock pot. I made some bone broth earlier. And books, love with the books. We said candles, and then
Hmm.
I'll say Shalo Glow.
All right.
Yeah.
What are four things that you can touch?
The candle is in my hand. We have this pen here, right? I have my notebook, and I'll say my sweater because I'm all cuddly.
Ooh, I
Mm,
like it.
yeah.
What are three things that you can hear?
Mm. Aliata, your voice, right? And the silence of the heat not being on. And, like, in the
Ooh,
cycle of it, like, it's quieter
okay.
right now, yeah.
All right. What are two things that you can smell?
The Sage Zenine Naturals candle, and what else can I smell? I'll go with this, lemon ginger tea I have beside me.
Mm. And
Yeah.
what's one thing you can taste?
The lemon ginger tea. That's what we've been having,
Right?
yeah.
Right?
Mhm,
So that's one, it's a pretty simple trick to stay in our bodies
mhm,
or to return to our bodies if
mhm,
panic has gotten us out of our bodies. Or I even use it when I want to say doom scrolling, but I saw on social media the other day, somebody said, we're not all doom scrolling. And I would
mhm,
agree with this that,
mhm.
I'm hope scrolling. Because
Okay.
often when I am scrolling through my socials, I'm looking for the good.
Yeah.
I'm looking for what's the news that I'm excited about. What is, you and I were talking about the halftime show at the
Mhm.
Super Bowl. That's been
Yeah.
so fun
Yeah.
to follow up with that on social media. And we talked about on the show weeks ago when Beyonce did the halftime show at the Beyonce Bowl, and like the
Mm.
power of art and the
Yes.
power of you haven't seen it yet, right?
No, not yet,
Oh,
y'all, I gotta see
okay.
it. I'm looking forward to it.
Ooh, fire. Fire. Put that in the chat. Which one, Charticia? Which you want
Yeah.
to put in the chat? The
What
five,
is
four,
the
three, two, one, or
mm,
the yeah, I can do that.
probably.
No, that halftime show. So I was on socials today, hope scrolling
Yeah.
a little bit this morning, and somebody said the difference between art and entertainment.
Mm,
After Kendrick's performance,
mhm.
40 Acres and a Mule was one of the top search uh, things in Google, right?
I would
Because
still like
people
mine.
don't know their history,
Times inflation.
right?
Yes.
So they you still like yours in times inflation. I love
Okay.
that.
Come on, baby. Signing
But
stuff.
you knew immediately what it was when I said that, right?
Yes.
And people were having to search that term, which I'm glad they were searching. I'm glad they're
Yes.
learning their history and
Very
about
important.
that. But
Mhm,
also that was what this poster was saying. That's the difference between art and entertainment.
mhm,
Art challenges your thinking and makes you look things up and makes you want to understand it. And
mhm,
there was so much symbolism in that halftime show
mhm,
in both his and in Beyonce's, like about Black history.
mhm,
And it was beautiful to watch, especially
mhm,
during Black History Month. We
mhm,
celebrate all year long, but
mhm.
we're still giving a shout out for
And for the
February,
month, yes.
right?
Yes.
Really talking about this month.
And for
Um, but yeah, it's powerful.
mhm.
It's powerful. And so I've been really enjoying that on socials this week about following up and seeing what folks are saying. And you said something else to me earlier that I thought was interesting that I wanted to have a conversation about when we
What'd I
first
say?
got on. Because you were saying your feed was showing you different things.
Mhm. So, yeah, y'all know how the algorithm is, right? And my feed was talking about something about Serena's, offensive dance, and y'all, we talk about propaganda and stuff. I was like, "Next." I was doing something,
Right.
um, and then saw online about, her husband talking about Wimbledon and the different things and the scrutiny, and I just, I shared with Christine that, and I'll just be transparent about it since we're talking about social wellness, that some people, the people who are mad, are not gonna be happy until she passes away, and you read this whole list of everything that she accomplished, and you're like, "I guess she did a lot." Yeah.
I still don't think they'd be happy because I think
They
it's
probably
based
wouldn't.
in
And
racism.
guess what? It
Like, I
doesn't
mean,
matter.
she's one of the greatest athletes of our time.
Right,
Like,
and so
right?
for her life, she did it, and I love it, and I'm happy to see
Mhm.
her walking around every single day because of what could have been the outcome of different situations, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that's the whole point. And when we talk about 40 acres and a mule, we were just talking about proclamations the other day, and that is from the Emancipation Proclamation and what was supposed to be given to the freed slaves. And 40 acres is when we talk about assets, and my chapter in volume 2 of intellectual wellness with unmitigated financial freedom, that would definitely give some unmitigated financial freedom for the generations, especially if
Right.
it's multiplied by inflation. And so, since
Right.
we have space to be sending money to people, I'm right here at home waiting for my check. Okay.
Girl, space to be sending money to people. I can't even. We would go out on a whole left turn with what's happening right
Let me
now.
sniff my sage candle,
Right? Sniff it. Sniff it.
It's how I stay in my body every day, okay?
Girl,
Yeah.
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 Mm.
And tea because it's healthier for you, not because it's petty, you know? Um, yeah, yeah, Linda says, "Yes, Christine." And I see you on the fire sign, Linda. Linda says she brought the fire for you, okay, Christine?
I love it. I love
Uh,
it.
and that's what I like about, the balance of community. Because sometimes you're
Right.
fiery, sometimes you're going with the flow, sometimes you're dancing fast, and other times you're just trying to remember to dance. And
Mhm.
community helps you through all those different times, reminding you that if your capacity is 30% today, that's what makes sense, and
Right.
helps you get back up to that 100. Like when I got my teeth taken
Right.
out and Christine came through with the soup and everything else, like so grateful. I didn't have to worry about it.
Right. I don't know what I would do without my community and social wellness. I mean, that's and I don't know if we've talked about it on the show, Shannon. It's been a
About
minute,
what?
but I want to say 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I started writing in my journal. I want healthy and reciprocal friendships.
Mhm.
Healthy and reciprocal friendships. Cuz here's the thing I know about women. Sometimes we give too much away. Like, sometimes it's out of balance. Sometimes it's, you know, it's it's not healthy, right? And so I rewrote that. Like, I mean, I'm a believer in writing things down. I'm a believer in manifesting. Like sometimes I go back and look at journals. I'm like, whoa, right? I wrote years ago. I get paid to speak in one of
Mm,
my journals, and I
come
didn't. I found it like after I was getting paid to speak, and
on.
so I intentionally wrote healthy and reciprocal relationships. Now, I'm going to give a caveat, y'all, because anytime you go to manifest or write something down, like, my mama said this. I don't know about anybody else's, but be careful what you wish for.
Mhm. Shout out to
Because,
Janet. Yes.
some of my relationships have fallen away
Mhm.
and because they weren't healthy or reciprocal.
Mhm.
And that's okay. It's still painful when it happens, and I'm paying attention to it, and also paying attention to what do I need to heal within myself to honor myself that I'm worthy of reciprocal relationships,
Right.
right?
Yeah. And, I always try to remind myself as, um I wonder what Eileen would call it. She says she calls herself a recovering angry person. I was thinking a recovering power giver, like power giver awayer,
Mm.
But I I try to remember that sometimes you're not gonna get refilled where you poured out, right? So there's still that, but the law
Mhm.
is still reciprocal and healthy and everything else, like we talk about.
Right?
Um, And so, it's difficult, especially as women, especially when we're trying to maintain safety in some situations. I've had to have conversations with friends, especially with what I shared with you guys last week, with people literally missing. Like, this is not a
Mhm.
game. Like, this is not the first time. Like,
Right.
we out here looking for people, I need to know, if you don't text me back, you just need space, or when I need to pull up and see if you're okay. And that's
Right.
what I love about my ladies, because y'all, Sharticia was on her way. Okay. She didn't know. She was on the way to the UPS box, okay, because she didn't have my address. But my community was on their way because they had not heard
Right.
from me.
Right.
And, those are the type of people that you want around you. And, the people that have the house key, the people that have the correct address, make sure
Right.
you have your people tapped
Right.
in.
That
So
we
when
can
they
find
come,
you.
right, they
Right.
can actually find you. Right? But,
And
sometimes
what is the amount of time,
yeah,
right?
and that's
Knowing
what I
our
was gonna
people
say.
enough to say, what's
Mhm.
the amount of time?
And it might be longer, right? I have a friend right now, it might be 2 years. She might coast out 2 years, and it might be more distant, and we have a long enough relationship for me to know that timeline,
Right?
and to know that it's not personal. She's just probably not okay. And again, when we talk about capacity and what you can do,
Mhm.
there's not much that I can do for her from where I'm at outside
Mhm.
of pray for her. And that is more than
Mhm.
enough. And I will continue to work on my capacity and show up when I can. And that's the part that hurts and that you have to heal from too. When you don't have your 40 acres in your mule yet. Okay, so
What's inflation on that? Like,
no, let's
I
let's
wanna
figure it
figure
out. They got
out we need to
calculators.
get out the
Okay,
calculator. How many
yes,
acres would
calculators.
that be now? Come on.
Let's figure it out.
I mean, that's when we
Um,
talk about reparations and
mhm,
people really get sideways about that, but that's where it's based out of. It's like,
mhm,
"Y'all, we did not fulfill our commitment."
right.
The Yeah.
Right. And what we know every day is that we cannot hold our breath and wait for anybody else to set us up. And
Mm.
so when I'm starting with the body, right, starting physical, let me make sure I have what I need to be fortified and covered and taken care of before I walk out the door.
Can I tell you what I did yesterday? Talking
What you
about taking care of our bodies.
Mhm.
I don't know if I had done this in my 20s, and I know I've heard about it for a long time, but yesterday, your past self does something and you're like, way to go, past self. Way
Yes.
to schedule that. So,
Yep. Shout out to her.
you know, when I was setting up to come here and take care of Cynthia, she's like, "Hey, you need to make sure and schedule some body work while you're here because
Mhm.
caregiving is a big deal,
Yes.
especially like if you're moving people and all that jazz." And
Mhm.
so she has this a healer here in Asheville that's a cranial sacral therapist. Have you
Mhm.
ever had cranial sacral therapy?
Not at all. Never heard of it. What is it?
So it is let me read to you what it is. It's a type of body work that relieves muscle and joint tightness around the bones of the head and the sacrum, which
Mm,
is the triangular bone in the lower back, and the spinal column. So it
mhm.
uses gentle pressure on the head, neck, and back to relieve stress and pain caused by muscular.
You
Let's
got
try
it.
that word again.
Mhm.
Musculoskeletal tightness. It can
Mhm.
be, as a result, help treat a number of conditions. I didn't know what I was getting into, but
Mhm.
our Melody, who's also in Nashville, one of our authors,
Come on.
and Cynthia have both seen Brian,
Okay.
and we're like, "You got to go do this." And so
Okay.
I'd scheduled it, and then forgot about it. Right.
Mm,
So
mhm.
we're on day 5 of caregiving, and my reminder pops up, "Hey, you have this appointment today." And so I went. I'm just going to highly recommend it to everybody out there. If
Mhm.
you can find, it was amazing. I slept like a baby last night. Like, it
Beautiful.
relieved stress I didn't even know I was carrying from this past, well, I knew I was carrying it from the
Right.
past 5 years, but
Right.
but yeah, it was incredible. So,
What was the difference for you between that and a chiropractic visit?
it was different. It was gentler. It was
Okay.
a moving of the head around. It was moving of like the spinal nerve, the fluid.
Mm.
And I I can't even really tell you, honestly.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
some magic.
Mm.
It was some body worker magic. Um, and I just felt a deep relaxation that I didn't even know I needed.
I hear you. And
Yeah.
I think it would be good for a lot of different people. I was looking at this picture of, little Shannon, like, the earliest picture I have. I'm probably, like, 7,
Share
and
this
I
with me.
hold on one second.
I need this picture. I need you to are we gonna put it in the show notes?
Not the show notes, but I will send it to you.
Okay.
I will
Okay.
send it to you. And I've been thinking about cleaning up my social media, y'all. Like, I don't usually delete stuff, so if you wanna find it, you could probably find it on my Facebook or something. But little Shannon's outside, right? I'm super happy, Christine. Why? Because I have on this jacket
Oh.
that had all these pockets, like my pockets and my stuff, and I had my Halloween candy in there, okay? And I'm just
Yes!
smiling, and my shoulders are up so high, and I'm like, "She was so stressed, and she was still
Oh, baby
smiling." Yeah,
girl.
she was so stressed. Um, and so
Right?
when I think about muscle tightness, like even getting the news of Ja missing last week,
Mhm.
I felt the tightness in my back. Like I've got to calm down if I'm gonna
Mhm.
stay at work.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I can't imagine of decades of things and everything else. And people aren't
Right?
going to masseuses and going to the spa and the sauna and this therapy and different things that really help you uh process this stuff and heal your body. Acupuncture, like our guest on 9/11 was talking about, and her experience from being there in New York on 9/11,
Mhm.
things like that, I think it would really help.
Well, and I wanna say to folks, because I have definitely been there in my life where I was like, "Oh, I cannot afford that. I can't do that," right? And, I wrote in my chapter in chapter 1 about we were allowed to spend money on food, flowers, and books. So
Yes.
massages and stuff were not in there. Like, it is
Right.
a skill I've had to really work on as an adult about
Yeah.
taking care of my body.
Mhm.
But when I think about that, there were times in my life when I was in college where I got a ball from like the Dollar Tree
Mhm.
and downloaded something from the internet about where your acupressure points are on your feet or your
Mhm.
hands.
Mhm.
And there's ways to do one of the first retreats I facilitated. I gave everybody in their gift bag
Mm.
a hard rubber ball and a printout of how to do acupressure on yourself. So I
Mm.
just want to say that for our listeners. Like I don't want you to think, "Oh, I can't afford that," or I live in an area that doesn't have that."
Right.
We have so many resources now,
Yes, we
and
do.
I'll try to put something in the show notes for a map for that because
That's amazing.
I believe, and he was doing some acupressure on me yesterday, and I was like, I know how to do like it's a
Yeah.
good reminder, right? Sometimes
Yeah.
we need a coach or we need a guide or we need a healer to remind us, oh yeah. And I
Mhm.
always think about this when I think about you and doing your Shalo glow at night and
Yeah.
how you're loving yourself up and you're putting it on your skin and you're protecting, but you're also giving yourself a little massage and a little loving up.
Mhm.
And how important that is for our wellness
Yeah.
to to start with checking in with our bodies. What do you need today?
Yeah. And
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 listening.
yeah, and how about, like, a thank you to your bodies? Like, "Thank you for
Right?
carrying me through everything I did today that I asked you to do without."
Gratitude.
Yeah, checking in, like, mhm.
What would be your thank you for your body today?
Today, I would say thank you for telling me you needed to rest.
Mm.
Because last Wednesday,
Mm.
we were looking at our schedule, and I said, "Why did I stack it like that? Why do I have an appointment at 7:45 in the morning when I know
Right?
I'm gonna be at work late?" And I didn't know when I scheduled the appointment weeks ago, I didn't know that my PM partner was gonna leave, right? I didn't know I
Mhm.
was gonna be brought in a higher leadership. I didn't know that, the admin was gonna be
Mhm.
twice as long, and I didn't know Ja was gonna go missing. And so you start stacking those things.
Right?
I said, "You know what?
Right?
It makes sense." And so I thought about it last week, and yesterday I still hadn't done everything I needed to do. It's like noticing instead of judging why. So you need to rest. That's why. Because
Mm.
and I literally thought about you, Sharticia, because I thought about your schedule in your chapter. And it
Mm.
literally that's how it's been. You know what I mean? So I canceled the
Been
appointment,
intense.
right? I broke the rules. I canceled my doctor's appointment, y'all. I canceled my nail appointment that I told you that I made early, all this stuff.
Mhm.
And I rested. And I felt like that was even better than the
Mm.
proactiveness of what I was trying to do because that's what I needed.
Right? Well
Mhm.
done. I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
give you a gold star and props for that.
Me and you,
'Cause
Sharticia.
right?
Yes.
I wanted to say before we go into our wisdom in action,
Mhm,
it's years ago, but I remember because I still have it in my office at home. Oprah said to find a picture of yourself
mhm,
between the ages of 8 and 12
mhm,
and to print it out. And because that's often, especially for women, the age when we're the most confident. When and I got that vision when you were talking about you were smiling and you had your pockets and you had your Halloween candy and you were I was like, "Oh, little Shannon," like, right? I have a picture of me, it's black and white. It's in my
mhm,
office. If I was in my office, I'd show you, but, it's my sister and my cousin who was the closest in age to me, and we were about 11 or 12, and we had our arms thrown around each other. We were I think my uncle and aunt were building a house at the time, and, we were out there helping, doing some family stuff, and we were just having a blast, and you just I don't know. I don't know why I'm saying that right now, but I think about the honoring of those places of ourselves
yeah,
that how important that is, and to say, "Well done," like,
yes,
Shannon, with your little
thank
Halloween I can't wait to
yeah,
see that picture, send it to
yeah,
me.
yeah, I got you, I got you, and what it brings up for me is the different versions of yourself, like you were talking about, right? How to heal and be in your body is, okay, no t Chartesia says, "Not doing that anymore," right? Can't function. You know what she was
Right.
referring to? What were we talking about, Christine?
We were talking about that huge schedule that
Oh,
she
yeah, no,
wrote in
my
volume
goodness.
1,
No, it's not
right?
sustainable, and that's what we
Right.
were talking about, sustainability, right? Um, but it reminds me of checking in with yourself and seeing how far you've come, right? And getting 1% better each day, like we were talking about earlier with one of our potential future guests. We were talking about, that I'm not in the same place I was yesterday. I think about the goals that I used to have. And like you said, I'll be finding old goals that we've surpassed time and time again. And now we're on to different things that feel like they were
Mm,
difficult, but it's just that level of the video game.
mm,
So, yeah, I try to keep it in that perspective.
right. I
Yeah.
love that. All right,
So,
friend, what's
yeah.
your wisdom in action this week? What you thinking about as you think about how to heal and be in your body every single day? And boy, I said heal like very
Yeah.
southern in that
That's
moment.
okay.
Heal?
Hey, I love it. I'm for it. Yourself, baby. So where we are is what it is. And I always think about Tabitha Brown now, in her story
Mhm,
a lot of different places she speaks, she shares about how she for so long had to change the way that she spoke because she
mhm.
was told she was so country. And now it's one of the things everybody loves about her. So it's like,
Right?
listen, no matter the term, no matter the year, no matter when it is, just be you and they'll like it, they'll love it, but you have to live with yourself. So
Right?
um and maybe that's the hashtag. They'll like it, they'll love it, but you have to live with yourself. And that's where I try to stay, so that I'm operating from a genuine place and still challenging myself to get better because, there's things to
Right?
learn, no matter if it's Chartesia's daughter or you know, Miss Universe, who hopefully we'll have on the show coming up in the months and the years to come as we grow up, our guest expert list. But that's what
Right?
I'm thinking about. What about you?
Well, I wanna say bye to Shartesia first because she said she's gotta go
Yes.
get ready for her
Okay.
meditation,
Yes.
but
Enjoy
thanks
your
for hanging with
meditation.
us today, Shartesia. It was great to
Yes.
see you, friend. We've missed you.
We've missed you.
So,
And I want to ask too before you go, tell me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong because I know that you corrected me on the beginning of it. So is it Chartesia or Chartesia? I know I had it and then I was doing it wrong. Let me know and we'll make sure it's right on the recording, okay? Um, but yes, what about you? What are you doing for your social wellness?
my social wellness, well, I actually my social wellness I was thinking about the how to heal and be in your body, and
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking and this may be social wellness too, but I was thinking hashtag stretch gently.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I can use that physically, I can use that socially, I can use that, my social wellness. I've got a big interplay community here in Asheville. So I'm reaching out and having tea or lunch so I'm connecting. I think that would be my other thing is hashtag connecting. I am really, really grateful
Yeah.
and having fun.
I love it. And I will definitely I will. I've never felt like this. Ooh, I want to take Christine's action and wellness and wisdom and action and do that. But I love the stretch gently. It's been a
Mhm.
huge reminder through these different seasons that we've had over the last few years of stretching into new positions. And it can
Mhm.
be uncomfortable, but just stretch a little bit more, or stretch here, and that'll help you feel better in that area. And I
Mm,
have hashtag hold your non-negotiables.
mm,
So the exfoliation with Shaylo Glow, having the Shaylo Glow, having the
mhm.
gas in the car. If y'all listen to every
Mhm.
episode, y'all know I literally ran out of gas. My car stopped. Like this whole season's, we gotta like Sharticia said, we can't be doing that anymore, right? What are
Right?
the new standards that we're holding in place as we really pour into ourselves this year, are intentional about our healing, and intentional about being well taken care of in our bodies on a daily basis.
I know we've said it before, but I always know if my phone runs out of battery or my car
Mm,
runs out of gas, I have to reset because
mm,
I'm that far out of balance from wellness
hmm.
that and being gentle with ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Being gentle with ourselves as we do it and creating, our hashtags or our affirmations or whatever our mantras, whatever we need. Um, I really feeling that lately. Like,
Yeah. And for me, it's like it's specific Bible verses, like
mhm,
what's the foundation? What's gonna anchor you?
mhm,
This past week, I think it's in First Peter 5. I've been reading about the elders. As a leader, I'm among the elders. What does that mean? What does that look like? How do I want to show up as an elder? And that's why I was talking about leadership earlier. Really
mhm,
trying to be intentional of, okay, this is what somebody else is doing, and how do I want to show up? What does that
mm,
look like? So I'm gonna keep stretching, keep glowing,
right?
keep staying hydrated, and if they wanna send a check for reparations,
I love
that'll
it.
be great
Yes.
too.
You ready for it? Yes, please.
Yes, thank
Um,
you.
what do our listeners need to know
Mm,
before we close out episode 183? We have
yes.
something to invite them to,
We
right?
have a couple of things coming up, y'all. So we have Connected in Vision on the 26th. Again, if you've been listening to the episodes, we wanted to allow some more time for more of you to join us. We know this year's been starting off to an interesting start. That'll be from 6:30 to 8, and we'll be walking through the 8 dimensions of wellness, vision board by vision board. It's okay if you don't get done there, but sometimes you just kind of need that kickstart,
Right?
and being with somebody. We call it body doubling, being in the same space and time, doing the same thing.
We've had a couple of people register. I meant
Yeah,
to
I'm
tell you
excited.
that earlier before we got
Oh,
started. So, yeah.
wins and wins and wins. We got the victory bell on the end of it too, okay? But yeah, we're gonna have a good time, and we're gonna connect in vision, be intentional about our wellness this year and our purposeful community. And y'all, we've been talking about it. Volume 3 is coming up. We have 24 we don't have 24 spots anymore, actually. With spots are dwindling down, okay?
Mhm.
So we have spots open. If you have a guest expert, somebody whose story that really resonated with you and helped you, and a resource that we have to get into the hands of our readers, go ahead and get them connected to Women Connected in Wisdom podcast. And we would love to send them more information about Volume 3. Yeah.
I'm so excited. It's going to
Yes.
be fun,
Yes,
y'all. It's
let
going
us
to
know
be
because
good.
doors are gonna close soon, okay? We gotta get started, and we're excited about the list of people this year. And you asked me earlier, Christine, that's what I'm excited about. You talk about hope scrolling. I'm about to have all these ladies in my algorithm now, right? Sharing their stories. And now we have
Right?
volume 3. Now we have 3 volumes of cohorts. Like, I just can't wait to get these ladies in a room. So many cool ladies, so many amazing stories and resources that have been so beneficial to us, right? To our listeners.
Mhm.
And I can't wait to grow the group.
I was working on the calendar today and already I don't want to wish away our year because I like to
Um,
be present, but
yes.
October we'll have our third summit, Women Connected Wisdom Summit,
Mhm.
and introducing a whole new cohort of speakers and
Yeah,
authors
yeah.
and yeah,
It's gonna be
best-selling
good.
authors. And I can't wait. I can't
My
wait.
que my question is always, who's gonna be in their 20s? Who's gonna be in their 80s? Okay, like, who are we gonna have here? So,
I
you
love it.
guys will see. Let us know if you wanna be part of it, and what you can always be part of is our Live at 5. We'll be here next week, Eastern Standard Time. In the meantime, be well, be wise, be whole. We'll see you soon.